Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Okay, listen up. I understand why everyone is so upset about what happened with this salon 413, I believe it's called. Um, when the Secret Service busted down the doors at this closed salon to let people use the bathroom, and then they taped up the security cameras and stuff like that. I understand. I get it. Okay. But that is something that the business owner is going to have to deal with and go after the Secret Service and hold them accountable and hold the Harris campaign accountable for. Okay. Um, do I think it's horrific? Absolutely. Okay. Um, I heard about it. I was sent the link to someone's channel to watch the video, and I was just like, okay, and I was just like, wow, this is really terrible. But what I'm about to talk about is what you should really be flipping out about. Okay. You see, the laughing hyena, she had another slip of the tongue. Okay. Funny how they keep happening, those slips of the tongue. Well, she's a snake anyway, you know. Snakes always have a slip of the tongue. And as usual, I happen to think that perhaps these might not be slips at all. Hmm? So go ahead. I want you to watch this with me. Because she talks about how we need to invest in reducing us. Yeah.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
Now, as usual, allow me to remind you that the carbon that they want to eliminate is you, is me, is all of us, except for them, of course. And they keep telling you point blank. So I don't understand why people don't believe them when they say this. So are they slips of the tongue? Billy Boy said it. Ted Turner said it. All of the leaders and followers of the WEF cult have said it. They've all told you. Perhaps you should start believing them. Remember the Georgia Guidestones? Of course you do. They sat about 100 miles outside of Atlanta before being destroyed by God and left in a heaping pile of rubble. They bragged in stone about wanting to reduce the world's population to 500 million people. And those Guidestones had what many called the 10 Satanic Commandments. And here they are, according to the new Georgia Encyclopedia. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. What new language are they referring to? Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. This is kind of reminding me of something. I'll tell you in a second. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. I just got done reading this really awesome book. Have you ever heard of a an author. His name is Ted Decker. Is it Ted Decker? Yeah, I believe it's Ted Decker. Um, Hang on, real quick. Yeah, it's Ted Decker and his daughter Rachel Decker, and they wrote this book. Um, it's called The Girl Behind the Red Rope. Okay, and he's a Christian author, and I've read a lot of his books. Um, Another good one is Frank Peretti. And this book, actually, when I was reading that, I said to myself, my God, that reminds me of what I just read in here. Um, this has to do with living in a world where the boundaries are clear and punishments are severe. And there's a girl, and her name is Grace, and she risks everything to break free from a system of fear and control to find freedom and love in a town called Haven Valley. And this Haven Valley is supposed to be, people who only have pure souls and this, that, and the other. But here it's run by the devil, and he is literally in sheep's clothing. And they don't find out until like the very end and stuff like that. But it's literally those rules right there is what Haven Valley is in that book. And it's scary because I didn't even realize it until just now. But the first guide, okay, rule number 1, really jumps at you. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. The reason I'm even bringing this stuff up is because I came across an old clip of Ted Turner. Okay, he owns Turner Classic Movies. He owned just about everything on the TV, right? And wouldn't you know it, it also he also wanted to reduce humanity, but Ted wanted to go even farther. He wanted it down to 250 to 300 million people. So, in other words, a genocide of 95% of all living human beings. And why? Sea change, of course. And I do believe Ted lived in Atlanta. So, is that right? Did he live in Atlanta? But I mean, it's just things that make you just go, huh, you know? So, watch this with me.
What do you think of the credit crisis we're in now?
I think it's a mess.
And why is it a mess?
Well, because I think what happened is people were borrowing too much money on their houses.
Clearly it's doing that.
My house is paid for. I mean, it has been. I mean, I don't believe, I think having equity in your home is a good thing. I don't believe in spending every penny you have. When I was making $80 a week after taxes were taken out of 20 when I was 21, I saved $10 a week and lived on $70. I mean, I've always saved. I believe that was the thing. It was one of my father taught me that too.
What's possible? Tell me what's
it's possible
to do.
That in 15 or 20 years we can completely redo it. If we have to mobilize, this is how important it is, and how important that we do it quickly. We have to mobilize the same way we did when we entered World War II in 1941. We have to fully mobilize everything we have and put it into changing the energy system over. And not just here in the United States, but all over the world. It's going to be the biggest business project in the history of the world. Fortunes, billions of dollars are going to be made. Hundreds of thousands of people are going to be employed. We're going to have clean air. We're going to have so many benefits from it. It's not going to cost us anything. Once we get going with it, it's not going to cost us anything. Only the people that don't understand it think it's going to. Not doing it will be catastrophic. We'll have 8 degrees. We'll be 8 degrees hotter in 30 or 40 years, and basically none of the crops will grow. Most of the people will have died, and the rest of us will be cannibals. Civilization will have broken down. What the few people who are left will be living in a failed state like Somalia or Sudan. And living conditions will be intolerable. The droughts will be so bad there'll be no more corn growing. Not doing it is suicide. just like dropping bombs on each other. Nuclear weapons is suicide. So we've got to stop doing the two suicidal things, which are hanging on to our nuclear weapons
and global
and then after that we've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. But if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff. If we don't get global warming and the nuclear weapons straightened out, we don't have to worry about human rights. The humans will all be gone.
Okay. Do you think we'll do it? I mean, are you optimistic in the end that that the world will come to its senses?
On behalf of my grandchildren and the children all over the world, I absolutely think we got to do it. But I have a way of explaining it very simply. I say the human situation I liken to a baseball game. It's in the 7th inning, and we're down by 1 run. So we're backs to the wall.
Right.
What we have to do, though, in the next 2 innings, the game's not over. It's still winnable. But what we've got to do is hold them right where they are with our best pitcher.
Right.
And we've got to get a couple runs on the board.
Get a man on base.
And then get him in.
Get him in.
And that ties it, and then another run to go ahead, and we win. That's where we are. We're in a tough situation, but we can play our way out of it if we do the right things. It's time for smart political leaders, no more dummies. We can't afford dumb leadership.
So these billionaires, and there's a lot of them, they always seem to just love getting rid of the rest of us as useless eaters. And Billy Boy, he claims that he misspoke in this next video that we're going to watch. But I think out of the heart, the mouth speaks. I mean, how perfectly appropriate that he said it at a TED Talk. There are no coincidences here. Listen.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Now, never forget, when they talk about sea change and the need to reduce carbon, they're talking about us, the useless eaters. They have to get rid of us. They have to. And it's disgusting to even think about it, but it's the darned truth. Okay? It is the darn truth. If you guys are interested in getting this book, thriftbooks.com is where I buy all of my books. Okay? All right, guys, I am out of here. I will see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fearless.